Welcome to Imperial Interlude episode. Who gives a fuck? We are totally exhausted because there has been so much Star Wars this week. It's hard to get behind everything. With me, as always, is Ralph. Hello, Ralph.
Hello.
We
Hello,
will be talking primarily about the new show Obi-Wan Kenobi, the double feature that has been shown on Friday. But before that, we'll have a shortish snippet discussion on what Star Wars has been releasing on the Star Wars Star Wars celebrations in Anaheim. I had a quick glance because I couldn't be asked to do much more, and I looked at several trailers, but the interviews I just couldn't stand because they felt at times too much like a paid promotion. For my personal
pretty
liking.
much. It's all of the stuff from the live feeds where they go onto the, not from the panels, but to the stage where Andy Gutierrez is, and the other people that were there helping. It's pretty much them just doing fan service, pretty much.
Yeah, it's and people expect that at an event like that.
Yeah.
But overall, I've just skimmed it.
I did watch, well, I caught a glimpse of some of the panels, and I watched, there was an interesting one with the 20th anniversary for Clone Wars panel. Sorry, for Attack of the Clones panel. It was hosted by Ashley Eckstein, so the voice of Ahsoka Tano. And of course, Ewan and Hayden got out, yeah? So Ashley turns to him and goes, nice to meet you, Hayden. What's up, Sky Guy? Which I thought was...
And the audience goes, "Ah!"
And the audience did go, "Grah!" And then on our Twitter later on, she posted a picture of her getting a hug off Hayden. So that was, it was nice, I would say that, that. So hopefully they've managed to get her to meet Rosario. Seems Rosario's there as well. But I mean, the first day kicked off on the Friday. What's annoyed me a little bit is they haven't streamed some of the panels. And you would think, why not, from a Disney point of view, to make money, offer a virtual ticket, for the panels like the Mando Plus panel and the
I think that's
panel,
the point. They wouldn't know how to monetize that as an extra on their streaming service. I don't think their service is actually working for that.
No, you don't do it. I mean, BlizzCon do it. You pay, X amount for a virtual ticket, and you're able to go see the panels. You get access to all of it, and you're able to go to the panels virtually. That's what I mean.
It's like a virtual I can give you one simple reason why they don't want people joining in digitally. They simply could record any trailer that is shown.
Well, the way well, Blizzard's a different one, but I have seen it done where, and they did it with the Disney Investors Call. The very first one they did, is they blank the screen, so it's only the people that basically are there, or however they did it, get to see the trailer. They actually put up like a test card almost.
But would you be willing to pay for a ticket when you don't get all the goods?
Well, it's more the fact is getting access to it, from the point of view of the thing. But that's aside, it would have been nice to at least have a virtual ticket where, at least could have heard them talking about the stuff.
If
not
they
necessarily
had
seeing
the
everything,
option.
Yeah. If they had the option, yeah. Because not everybody can go to Anaheim,
No,
be in the halls and stuff. But on the first day, they had the Lucasfilm What's Coming news. So that was talking about the Mando was there. John and Dave were there. They showed a trailer for Mandalorian season 3. So there is a cut of a trailer, and I've seen a really bad camera copy of it. Well, I've seen a camera copy of it, and I'll tell you what the trailer reminds me of is. Do you remember the very first teaser trailer we got?
From the Mandalorian.
Yes, the very first trailer, that very short, very quick cut. Didn't leave a lot open, shall we say. It reminded me totally of that. The tone and everything was exactly like that, just on a slightly bigger scale. I think also what was announced on the Friday was Skeleton Crew, which is the new Mandalorian TV series starring Jude Law. And what it is it's a collection of kids lost in the galaxy, end up on a ship. Maybe Jude Law's the captain or whatever that finds them and helps them. So, it's going to be a collection of 4 or 5 kids.
It's important to emphasize it's children, not younglings.
Exactly, it's children.
So there's no real Jedi connection.
It's more. I think it's going to be a little bit like Stranger Things in space. Maybe that's sort of age range. But it's produced by John Watts, who's the gentleman who directed the last 3 Spider-Man movies.
So which is a absolutely irrelevant measurement for me because I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, you've never seen them, but anybody listening that knows he did Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, the last 3 big Spider-Man movies. He's the writer of them, and he was also working on the Fantastic Four movie, but stepped away because they said creative differences. What's come out is he's just tired. For the past 10 years, he's made 3 huge movies, so he needs a bit of a break. So he's moved over to Disney from Marvel to do a TV series. Yeah, fine, he's a producer. And then we also got a trailer for Willow, which looked it was Willow.
Yeah, it's not Star Wars.
It's not Star Wars, but still, it's all part of the Lucasfilm thing.
And also, I was under the impression it would be a movie, but it actually is a series.
It's a TV series, yeah. Yeah, I don't know where people have picked up on that as a movie. It's not a movie.
I think maybe because they didn't put an emphasis on it being a series, and everybody thought it would be a movie then. Because
no, it's a TV series. Even Warwick said that when it was first announced. And Ron Howard has said the same. It's always been. But it was nice. It was nice to see. And then you had John Williams come out and do a live conduction of the Kenobi theme, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to the film.
At the end, I almost said Han Solo.
I know you mean. Harrison Ford came out as well to wish John Williams a happy birthday because John Williams is 90. But also because they played the Indiana Jones theme, they had the first sort of still or concept from Indiana Jones 5, which is coming next year.
It was actually a still. Yeah. It was him on a
bridge.
Bridge sort of thing.
Yeah.
I just hope they bring that series to an end without killing him.
Well, probably. It might do the whole James Bond thing, So that was sort of day one. I can't remember what happened on Friday. Apart from there was a Kenobi. No, there was the 20th anniversary edition of the 20th anniversary panel for Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Which I did watch a little bit of, which was nice. You had Tamara Morrison come out and Anakin and Hayden crash it. And as I said to Tim before we started recording, Ashley Eckstein was the panel host, which was the voice of Ahsoka. So she got to, meet Anakin, which is quite interesting.
You forgot to mention the Andor trailer they showed.
We got an Andor trailer as well. Yes.
Which of all is potentially the one of the trailers that's brought the most hype for me?
Yes.
Personally?
Yes. And also, what's interesting is a lot of people online keep thinking it's a movie. No, it's a 12. What's interesting is 12 episodes. It's a 12-episode season. Comes out in August. Comes out 2 days after my birthday. Which means that's going to run right the way through. If you think about it, so that's August, September. Well, it'll be September, October, November. So that'll take right the way through to November.
Yeah, Disney is making a train of episodes, it seems.
Yeah, and it's going to be 3 seasons. The 3rd season then leads straight into
not A New Hope, Rogue One.
Rogue One, yeah. So,
and for people who haven't seen it, he will die.
Well, that's what he said when it was announced. He said, "At least you know how I can't die in the series."
Yeah. Funny you say that. That's a recurring theme I have when watching a prequel series lately, like Star Trek New Horizons. Or was it called New Horizons?
Star Trek Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds. And I see, I know that all these characters are alive decades later, so there's not much.
We know one of them is in a strange-looking wheelchair.
Yeah, but he's still alive.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I need to see it because I think I've heard good things. So,
let me put it this way: if you liked the original series and had a fable for Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
It's along those lines.
Yeah.
It's a bit too shiny for my taste, so yeah, the Enterprise looks like it's polished to hell and back. But the acting and the storytelling is multitudes above what the last incarnation had.
It's supposed to be really good, and it is the old self-contained adventures in each episode. You know,
at least until now, except the overarching story of Pike knowing that he'll be a puddle of meat at some point in the future.
Yes, he'll be a wheelchair. But yeah. So, but then we got, well, with Andor, we had the Andor trailer. Then, like I said, Friday, there was some stuff on Friday. I just can't remember exactly what it was, because it was mainly yesterday was the big panel, which was what was called the Mando Plus panel.
I think on Friday there was also the talk with a visit to the Emperor at the interview with
Ian McDermott. I didn't bother with that one because I've heard him. You know, we've heard him constantly, shall we say, you know, with the thing. I think the big one, like I said yesterday, was the Mando Plus panel, as they called it, which was basically them talking about the legacy of Mandalorian, bringing out some of the people. On stage they brought out was initially Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau. They brought the 2 stunt guys that play the Mando.
Mm-hmm.
They were on stage. They brought out Rick Fukushima, or the guy that directed episode 2 of The Mandalorian.
I don't have my notes with me.
Yeah, it's him anyway, but he's now announced as an executive producer on it.
Feels a bit like they're pushing chairs in either direction. You've got producers sitting in X-wing cockpits. You've got
You've got directors and executive producers and producers sitting in X-wing cockpits.
What will be next? Jon Favreau playing a Darth, whatever.
Well, he voices a Mandalorian anyway, doesn't he? So, because it's his voice again. Is it Par Vizsla? The guy in the heavy armor.
I think so.
It's his voice again. Yeah. They then brought out Temuera Morrison was there, of course. Tem came out, did a little bit of his hacker. There's some footage. There's someone taking some footage on Twitter. Ming-Na Wen couldn't be there. She caught COVID.
Oh God.
And she was looking forward to it as well. So that's a shame for her, because I think, you know, the thing for that. Emily.
I think the only one.
Emily Swallow.
I think the only person missing on Star Wars Celebration Day so far is Mark Hamill.
Yeah, Mark's definitely not been there that we've seen. Is it Emily Swallow, the armorer?
Mm-hmm.
She came out on stage along with Katie Sackhoff. Well, we knew, you know, Katie's there. Katie was there on the Friday as well when they showed off the Mandalorian footage that they had, the initial trailer for that. And then they talked about the shows. They showed an unaired teaser of sorts, a longer teaser for Mandalorian Season 3. One of the pickups on that was there is a scene of a bunch of Mandalorians fighting. Which there was rumors running around that there was at least 50 extras in full Mando costume. So
is a thing to think about if they've called on the help of the 501st again.
Possibly. It actually would be the Mando Mercs this time.
We need you, but you can't tell anybody.
Exactly. So, but there's a bunch of scenes. It is set on Mandalore. We know a couple of returning characters. Moff Gideon was in the teaser. We see him. We see Dr. Pershing in the teaser. We see the X-wing pilot that turns up. You know, the guy from Kim's Convenience, who's a big Star Wars fan.
The older
actor,
guy.
Him. Yeah, him. We see him in the trailer. The end of the trailer has Bo-Katan looking down at Grogu, going, "Well, you didn't think your father was the only Mandalorian." So, she meets the child again. But there was longer footage. There was more footage to the teaser that they showed off compared to the one they showed on Friday. We then got Rosario came out. She wasn't there on the Friday. She couldn't be there on the Friday because Dave and John were there, and then Dave had to go back to, I think it's Miami Beach in Hollywood, where they film. It's where the volume is, or the stagecraft is, and they were busy filming. So they brought Rosario out. Rosario brought a friend on stage, which was a live-action version of Chopper, who's going to be in Ahsoka. Then they announced the casting and brought out the actress, and I'm not going to say her name, but they've announced the casting for Sabine Wren. So we're going to meet Sabine Wren. They've been filming Ahsoka for 3 weeks.
And she's later on stage.
Yeah.
Where the fan area is, let's call it that way.
Yeah. They've been filming for 3 weeks. They started on Rosario's birthday, was the first day of filming, this she said. And then they had some footage. Well, they had a trailer, pretty much. In that trailer where you can see it, and you can. I mean, it's still a camera copy. If people want to go and hunt it down and find it before Disney's copyright strike everybody, you can. But the quality's, seeable. Is we see a live action from behind. We don't see the face, so we don't know who it is who's been cast. Hera Syndulla.
Well, let's be honest. Even if we would see the face, it would be hard to
probably do. Yeah, it probably
recognize the actors under it.
So we get to see Hera. The end of the trailer is a direct copy of the mural at the end of Rebels, where Sabine has painted this mural of the Rebel, the Ghost crew. Like it's that, but in live action.
Nice.
But so we get that's the end scene of the trailer, and the crowd went
bananas,
batshit crazy over it. Yeah. I mean, and then of course the end of the panel with them bringing on Jon Favreau from under the desk, brought out the actual Grogu puppet.
And people even get more bananas.
Yes, and then people went more bananas in that. So that was pretty much Friday. Today, being streamed is the Bad Batch Season 2, or the Bad Batch panel. And that's actually being streamed. So if anybody wants to find it, you'll find it on YouTube if you just go to the StarWars.com webpage. You'll find each day is on there from the stage, and any of the panels that were streamed are actually cut into the stuff from the sort of the fan area stage. But there's interviews there. Giancarlo Esposito was there as well. Moff Gideon was on stage. Carl Weathers as well. So it's been very packed. Lots of news. I mean, we also got a trailer, not gameplay, just straight trailer of for Jedi, the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Which looks really good, and of course the Inquisitor's in there. In the trailer.
Yeah, and I think we don't really need any gameplay for that game, because it's going to be a story on rails again, and B, I don't think the quality has improved that much. So
no, it'll be more aimed at the PS5 probably. Those than the old tech. It'll be all new gen. And then we also got some stills of different people and some video footage of the Star Wars Legion stuff that's being released next year for the Ewoks, which, when we get some high quality images, we'll be able to see the Ewoks better, but they do look nice.
Yeah, it'll be Ewoks and Din Djarin and the child.
And the child, among other things, I think, because
those were shown and teased, so those are a safe bet to say, you will be able to pre-order them sooner or later.
Well, we still got the Boba Fett mini that was shown off as well.
Yeah, that's
at the last
still
mini
not
extravaganza. It's been they've done it on one of their streams. Is they've shown them painting him.
Yeah, but it hasn't been shown as a product.
No, not as a product yet. I think that'll be this year because we got the new.
So potentially Boba Fett and
Din.
No, what's her name?
Fennec.
No.
Ahsoka,
who had been confirmed on stream but not shown. Those two could potentially be shown then by the AMG mini extravaganza. That's
I think
next week or the week after.
Is it the 7th? Is it the sort of that week of the 8th of
If it's
June,
the 7th, then it's next week.
No, it's the week after. It's the 1st of June on Wednesday, so I think it's the week after.
Well, we will see.
We'll find out anyway. Yeah, we'll find out. It's thingies. But pretty much it has been jam-packed with Star Wars news left, right, and center this weekend, which we knew anyway.
At time of the recording, I think day 3 is still ongoing.
It's day 4 now.
Oh, day 4? Okay, lost track. But it's still going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the final day today. The Sunday is the final day. But if anybody, as of recording, if anybody wants to go and find the footage, the whole days are on StarWars.com. The big long 6-hour videos, because they're only allowed to stay in the convention center up until 6 o'clock at night. At 6 o'clock, it all shuts down.
Which is irritating.
It's weird, to say the least, because I've done conventioning in the UK, and it's normally in a hotel.
Usually
so
you have a hard time getting people out the door.
Yeah.
Just before 8 p.m. because they don't tend not wanting to go.
Well, the UK conventionings, the old sort of sci-fi conventions was, it'd be the nighttime would be the bar and the disco and
the
stuff like
grown-ups.
that, for the grown-ups and stuff. But I guess it's a different thing being this corporate event, But that's
you need to pay people to run around and keep other people from nicking stuff and going berserk on props.
Yeah, that's pretty much the news from the convention. So lots of interesting news, lots of new stuff coming. There was a new animated series announced as well called Tales of the Jedi, which is dealing with some of the characters from the prequels, which is really interesting to say the least. So I guess all Star Wars is good Star Wars.
Yes, at least currently. Let's hope they don't drop the ball.
Very true. So, shall we talk about a certain TV series that aired 2 episodes on Friday?
Yeah, I'm still trying to think of a reason why they made a normal series launch into this huge double feature, because that was a quite late decision on behalf of Disney. They even made an announcement trailer where Ewan McGregor said, yeah, we're delaying the first episode, but you'll get 2 at the same time.
I think it was to tie in with what they were planning for Celebration. Because if you think about it, this is the first Celebration in 3 years.
Yep.
We hadn't even had The Mandalorian air yet, had we?
I think, if I remember correctly, Ewan McGregor was on stage even saying that the people on Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim had to had the first glance on the Obi-Wan series before anybody else. So that's potentially
everybody in the main hall where they were on the Friday, on the Thursday, maybe the Thursday.
It must be the Thursday because of Friday.
Thursday, we're going to be able to watch the first 2 episodes with the cast. It was with the cast as well, which I thought was really nice of them, to think it.
It's nice.
But this is the first Celebration. I was just working it out. The last Celebration, we hadn't even had The Mandalorian air yet.
No, I think that's the one in 2019.
Chicago must have been 3 years.
And that's the convention where we had the Star Wars Legion Darth Vader exclusive miniature, which led to gnashing of teeth and great annoyance in the Force.
Star Wars Legion Chicago. Yeah, we had Star Wars Celebration Chicago. So we hadn't even had what you call it? We hadn't had a Mandalorian at all. That shown the trailers, and that was it.
Yeah, I think in the interview they did with what's his face, the actor playing oh god, my brain's fudge.
Which one? The actor playing
the Mandalorian.
Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah, he had been asked on stage, how does it feel to be at the first proper celebration after everybody has seen the series and not only knowing a teaser trailer picture. So we hadn't seen hide nor hair from the Mandalorian previously. So basically Disney has lost a lot of money.
Well, they've. I think they've structured it so this celebration was going to be massive, and they knew it was going to be massive anyway because they delayed it from last year. It was supposed to be last year. They were planning on running it still in August, and then they just said no, we'll push it into 2022.
Yeah, and people are craving for pieces of normality.
Mm-hmm.
Get out.
So we knew it was going to be big, and then that's why I think they pushed Kenobi back to Friday and given 2 episodes as well. Because if you think about it as well, it's actually a quicker turnaround, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 weeks. So it's actually only going to be 5 weeks, which means when we get episodes,
but the date
5
for the final episode doesn't change this way.
No, and that's it. The final episode date doesn't change. And also when this is running, so next week, the week after, Marvel are also releasing one of their shows on June the 8th. So we're going to get a Star Wars show and a Marvel show at the same time, and I think we're going to get a lot more of that on Disney Plus, where some of the big IPs they have.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get shows linking into not so much linking into each other, but released at the same time, so people aren't deprived of content. Because I think that's been one of the
handing the stuff to the next one to have a constant running order.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things people have been craving. Really, is the fact that we've had to wait for, say, we had Bad Batch, we had nothing until Book of Boba, and that was, really a long one and stuff like that. So
I think even if some people see that as a negative aspect on linear television, but having to wait for your episode to come around and not being spoon-fed everything in one big gulp is, I think it adds to the experience. Because you're starting to looking forward to that day next week when you can see the next portion.
We can actually do a live reaction if you want, Tim. Because guess what's just dropped?
I don't know.
Bad Batch Season 2 trailer. I'm not joking. It's up on Star Wars. It's on Star Wars' YouTube channel.
Well, that's unfortunately because I could put it into the background running order.
I wouldn't put it in the background because you'll get demonetized and all of that. But
you remember in our first episode, I had just the trailers running to have some visual interaction on the screen, and that got demonetized.
But I tell you what, I've just scanned. I haven't watched it. I've just scanned along to the end of the trailer. Bad Batch Season 2, Fall 2022.
Well, that's nice.
So I'm assuming that'll be in replacement of The Mandalorian, because we're not getting Mandalorian and Ahsoka until next year.
Well, potentially.
No, they've said Mandalorian's February.
To say to you all this time, and I always forgot. I did a little experiment on the video for today's episode. I took all the interviews and the trailers from the Star Wars days up until an hour before recording, put it in the playlist, and that's running in the background of the video, but our voice meters are in front of it.
Right, yeah.
I hope that's enough disturbance on the picture to get YouTube not flag this video, but I don't know.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's just dropped. So there's a little bit of live news, as we're talking about to talk about Kenobi, that the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer has come up. And fall 2022. So I'm assuming that will be, like I said, to tide over until Mandalorian Season 3, which they did say was February next year. They haven't put a definitive date on Ahsoka, but they've said Mandalorian's going to be February. So about the same time as Book of Boba, really. Anyway, back to the grumpy old man with the lightsaber.
I think we haven't started on anything now. Hold on just a sec. I try to... Bloody hell, why won't this do this what I want? This is what I needed. I just added the Batch trailer to the loop of trailers that is running in the background. Potentially in around half an hour, there should be a refresh on the playlist, and then it'll be in the background. So if you hear me going...
So overall, I want to get your overall impression of it before we go deep dive.
My overall impression,
because you were a little bit apprehensive about it, weren't you? You were a little bit worried.
Yeah, because it's the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi is, as we have seen him in every medium so far, a very distinct character, and the let's say the Clone Wars area General Kenobi is a completely different beast compared to A New Hope Obi-Wan, the grand old man. And I was worried how they would go about having him change that much, and I really didn't know what to expect from the series, to be brutally honest. My fear was it would be a bit lightheartedly him just waving around his lightsaber, chasing off baddies, and yeah, I think it's going a little bit of a different direction. I don't know if it's going to be a constant rescue mission as it has started, or if this is going to be a story arc thing like it was with the Book of Boba, and just showing how a broken man is coming to terms with how he's going to get on and live with what he had done.
Yep. I think the 6 episodes are basically going to be him from, say, episode 2 getting the girl back to her family. Yeah. We'll talk about who the girl is,
And also, one point that really got me irritated was something that I realized midway through the first episode. This is just, I think, 6 or 7 years before A New Hope.
10.
Yeah, no, it's 10 years after.
And it's, which denotes about 10 years. Between New Hope and Revenge of the Sith was about 20 years.
Well, okay, so let's say it's 10 years then. He's still very much a redhead, and in A New Hope, he's white as fuck.
Yeah, well,
So either the son of Tatooine is doing a hell of a job on his hair, or what I would find much more pleasing, there will be some kind of force fight within Obi-Wan, which sucks the color out of his hair, like the fight with where Emperor Palpatine shows his face to Mace Windu.
It's Jedi Grecian 2000. I mean, he's going to keep those locks. Yeah, it's it's about 10 years, I think it is, because there's about it's give or take that number of years.
Yeah, it again. Really, also,
it's very vague.
Let's preface one thing we have forgotten. We will have both seen the episode. We are going to spoil this episode with everything we've got. So if you haven't seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new series by Amazon, Disney Plus yet, stop right now, watch it, and then come back and listen to us, because we won't keep secrets from anything of that, just for the sake of fluent talking.
Exactly. So I mean, what we can do as well, and I think it might be worth for these 2 episodes, is if we just vaguely talk some about the story, because I don't think it's the story so much, because it is an interesting story, the kidnapping of one of the 2 children, and spoilers, the kidnapping of Bail Organa's daughter, who we know as Princess Leia.
Leia Organa, the spoiled brat.
That's the story, but the story actually isn't. That's just one key part of it. The story is Reva, the 3rd sister, and her obsession in these 2 episodes with Kenobi.
I think this obsession will continue.
I think it'll continue, and I think it links back to the opening scene. So the opening scene, we get to see Order 66. So that's in 2 shows now, Book of Boba Fett and now Kenobi. We have seen Order 66 from a different viewpoint.
And they shown it in a very gruesome way. The first shot we see is some younglings training in solace and very relaxed, and all of a sudden the door opens and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, the 501st come charging in, and the Jedi Master sort of protecting.
Yeah, runs away with his 5 or 6 younglings, and
children. Yeah,
eventually she gets gunned down, and the children just run.
I think one of those children is Reva. I have a suspicion one of those children is the third sister. And I think her drive on getting Kenobi is not just the fall to the dark side, but also her drive on wanting to know why he wasn't there to protect him.
Potentially, yes.
That's my pardon me. That's my feeling. I could be completely wrong. But and then we cut to, after that scene, we cut to years later, don't we, really?
Yeah, then it comes the mandatory 10 years later.
Yeah, but we don't cut straight to Kenobi. We cut to that scene from the trailer of the ship, of the Inquisitor's vessel coming into Mos Eisley or Mos Espa or wherever the hell it's.
And the ship, when I seen it in the trailer, it didn't click with me. But when I saw it on this show, do you know what it reminds me of terribly?
What?
Do you remember the 80s show Buck Rogers?
Yes, one of the Viper fighters.
Yes.
Yes.
The silhouette from above, the two pointy things in the front, the engine sticking out of the back, and even the triangle shape of the hull looking from the front is very similar.
I think as well, it's actually a piece of concept art that they used originally in Rogue One for Krennic's shuttle.
Could be. It definitely reminded very much of that one.
So we get them, coming and landing, and we get the three. So we get the fifth brother, the third sister, and the Grand Inquisitor coming down the ramp, and everybody stops. They're hunting for a Jedi. It was very impressive. The sort of those coming down the ramp, you can see why, it's like why the Inquisitors are what they are,
Nobody expects the Imperial Inquisition.
Inquisition, yeah. But then, we get them quizzing and hunting for a Jedi. We get somebody bad-mouthing them before they find the Jedi losing a hand. Or is that later on?
No, I think that's just before, because the old lady goes, yes. You don't have any jurisdiction here. This is the Outer Rim. The Empire doesn't slice.
So, yeah, Reva is not, shall we say...
The third sister is a bit of a temperamental one.
Is very
she's easily riled and annoyed, all while the Grand Inquisitor is more patient.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So we get that, and then they find the Jedi. He basically escapes from them.
The Jedi that is not Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, it's definitely must iterate. It's not Kenobi. The Grand Inquisitor admonishes Reva for her impulsiveness. And then we cut to basically, them busy, a bunch of workers, or a wide shot of what looks like a huge manta ray on its side.
Yeah, but let's not forget the Jedi they have hunted down manages to escape. Which will be important later in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. So
there's some underground beast, a giant fin sticking out of the back. It could well be a died cryo dragon for all I know.
Yeah, it reminded me of a giant, what do you call it? A giant like manta ray.
Yeah, it looks like a giant fin that's sticking out of the sand, and there's a scaffolding in front, and people are slicing meat from it like they did in whale hunting.
So we get that, and then we get a shot of we finally get a shot of Kenobi doing this. So he's pretending or acting like
doing hard manual labor.
Yeah, doing menial work almost, and things. And then goes, when has to restrain himself from admonishing the boss, who seems to be screwing over his workers.
Yeah, that's the little detail that got me is he's stealing.
He's actually taking some meat.
When shift ends, he cuts off a little piece of that meat and puts it in his in his vest, and then goes home on a long hover train ride, and there waits his pack mule, whatever it is, and he gets fed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but before he enters his hole,
His cave in the desert.
His man cave.
His one cave.
Droid,
it's the Obi-Wan cave.
What looks like it's probably R5.
Yeah, it's an astromech droid camera module like the ones we've seen from R2-D2 perking out of the swamp of Dagobah.
Yeah.
And it's green, indicating all is fine.
Exactly. So he goes in, he does those little bits.
He gets a visit from a Java.
Yes. He gets a Java visit, but is it he has the dream first? Or is the dream second?
I think the dream is second, because when he comes in, the Java says, why didn't you buy soap? I smelled you miles from here.
Yes, it was more the comm link going off.
Yeah, that's the dream.
That's later on, isn't it? Though that's later on, because I think he has the dream, but then don't we cut? I'm going bouncing around here, We cut to
the first thing is the Java comes visiting him because he has an item that he wants to buy, which is a Skyhopper model kit.
It's a T16.
Yeah, it's the one that Anakin has played with, and Luke later then will have sitting on his desk.
Yes, it's the one Luke plays with, and then he delivers it as well.
And he also buys a controller card for his moisture evaporator, which obviously had been stolen by that same Java, and he just goes, well, if you are stealing my shit and selling it back to me, you at least could clean it. And the simple reply by the Java wasn't, no, I didn't. He just said, cleaning's extra.
Yeah. Cleaning's extra, yes. So we got that, and then actually we've jumped ahead a bit, because before the Jedi and I'm just going through a quick running thing. Yeah, I think I've got it. That one. Later that night he sneaks in and leaves the T16 hopper, and then he has the dream, and then he has this dream to do with Padme and Qui-Gon and Yoda and things like that,
and then how he cut Anakin into small pieces.
Yeah, and then he rides next day. He's riding his OP. That's the name of the beast, to get that scene that we see from the trailer of him watching Luke. But as he's traveling back through the desert, he meets the Jedi. That's
late in the night then.
Yeah, it's in the night. Delighted, pleased with that to help him, but the Jedi Master urges him to leave and bury his lightsaber in the desert to avoid drawing tension.
And at first he totally disregards being Obi-Wan Kenobi, and only when the other guy is showing him his lightsaber, I'm a Jedi, you need to help me. No. We fought, we lost, it's over. Deal with it. Bury that thing somewhere, find a decent life.
That's the line from the trailer, isn't it? Where he replies, "As the fight of over the Jedi times is done.
Fighting is done. We lost."
And then we cut to Alderaan.
Yeah, where a tiny person is getting dressed up.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so we cut to Alderaan, where we encounter a very young Princess Leia.
But the way they introduce her character is quite heartwarming. So we see this little person getting dressed up. The Queen Mother comes into the room. Oh, you're already ready. That's nice, on time this time, and we now need to get to do this formality. And she looks down at the hand that is given to her, pulls down the robe, and just realizes it's somebody else. And the little kid smiles. She said you would find it funny.
Yes. So Leia is pretty much of a tomboy stroke booking authority almost, and the very precocious, I think is the term.
Yeah, she's running around in the woods, climbing trees with a small droid that reminded me awfully about the made-up droids from Miracle on 8th Street, was it called, I think.
Oh, you mean batteries not included?
Yes, batteries not included.
Yeah, and also Hasbro do have the droid as a toy. So,
God.
Yeah.
Children will go mental over it.
Exactly. So,
Yeah, then she sits in this tree and looks at different spaceships going off and imagining stories about them and going, oh, that's space pirates. And the droid goes, burp?
yeah. And then she basically identifies a ship. She jumps down from the tree, and
there's Mother.
And then there's a guard there to take her to basically the
Yeah, I think her mother is also actually coming with a guard and then taking her. So we need to dress you up in the speeder.
Yes, and then then we get the obligatory royal family riding through town, waving at people.
Yeah.
Shot, which on the whole, it was nice to see Alderaan before it became a pile of ash and smoke.
Yeah, that's something that was in the back of our mind all the time, going, oh, this is about 10 years from being blown to smithereens. Mm-hmm. You might want to sell your property now.
Yes. So then we cut back after that. Well, we have a scene of some people watching watching the Organas from afar. So that comes around
with a very distinct looking backhead.
Yes, well, sort of. And then we cut back to Tatooine. There's more stuff with Kenobi.
Yeah, he's at the meat working plant again. He's driving home again, and at the point where he is just about to saddle his trusty steed, the Inquisitors are back.
Yes, the Inquisitor are back, but also Owen Lars confronts him, throws down the parts of the T-16.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's before the Inquisitors come down.
Yes.
And that's the scene from the trailer, which was really hurtful, where you stay away from him, but he needs to be trained. Oh, like you trained Anakin.
Exactly.
Ooh,
and then we get the Inquisitors turning up. The third sister threatening to basically kill Owen.
Yeah, and his family.
Yeah, and then she is stopped. She urges the town inhabitants to save the man and his family, and threatening Lars with a lightsaber. The fifth brother tells Reva to soften, produces a hologram of Neri.
Yeah, and he also very much loudly proclaims there will be rewards for turning in the Jedi.
Yes. So the fifth brother sort of has, basically stops her impulsiveness. They go off. Kenobi thanks Owen for sort of saving him from that whole scene.
Yeah, and Owen just goes, "I didn't do it for you."
Yeah. And then we cut back to Alderaan. Bale turns up. They're waiting for Leah's cousin, who's a bit of a dick. The child, he takes the mick out of her.
He tells her, "You're even not a real Organa," which hurts her, obviously, and then she just goes full mental on him, saying, you're unsecure, you're fearful, you're frightened, and you'll never be what you strive to be."
Pretty much. She lets it rip us with both barrels, and
it's a complete barrage of insults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a few minutes later, then her parents on the balcony with her go, "Yeah, you need to apologize."
Yeah, telling her to apologize, which she...
What was the term she used? "I'd rather be digested by..."
Yes, I'd rather be eaten by something.
Yeah, it didn't sound very pleasant.
But instead of apologizing, she heads to the forest, where she encounters... Again. Yeah, where she encounters a human.
Yes. And
did you recognize him?
I paused. I think they didn't. Then I thought to myself, well, they did that thing for the one that brought the Rancor. So, quick Google, fucking Flea.
Yep. Flea is in Star Wars.
And he's a very fitting evil guy.
Yes, he's a villain. He's one of the many one of the three people that are basically there to kidnap Leia. There's a bit of a chase through the forest, and they eventually do kidnap her. I think we can quickly.
Yeah, and
I think a
he
lot of
seems to
people
be the head of the gang.
Yeah, a lot of people were, shall we say, turned off by that a little bit because a little 10-year-old girl running away and escaping from three grown-ass men seems a little bit far-fetched. But come on.
Yes, but no, and also anybody who's saying that, I'll give you a 10-year-old that is familiar with the terrain and you start trying to catch them. They will pull some sneaky tricks up their sleeve.
What was interesting was the two aliens with them. One was a feline. So I thought that's the first time we've seen, I think, a feline in live action. It's the same race as Prince Shizor.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was a Nikto as well. So they were the two races with him. But
and Flea himself had some weird biomechanics,
probably some sort of cybernetics, something like that. And then we then get the little girl, basically Leia, kidnapped. Then it's Kenobi's hole, his man cave. He gets it's a hollow communicator goes off, and it's Bale and his wife basically pleading for his help.
Oh, they're not pleading, they're begging.
Yeah, and he's basically telling them that.
I'm not the man I used to be. Go follow look for someone else. I can't do this anymore, and I need to protect the boy.
Yeah, all of that. Later on, we get Kenobi sort of think he's from the meat works, travels back to Anchorhead, and then heads where he encounters the hung body of the Jedi, hung.
Yeah.
Not by the neck, but by the arms, and just hanging from basically a archway.
Yeah, pretty much dead.
He enters his cave, but before that, the droid thinks up showing red, and then denoting somebody's there. And when he goes in,
a cloaked figure standing in front of the window, quote unquote.
Yeah, and we get basically it's Bale who's gone there to plead in person for Kenobi to go and rescue Leia,
which actually eventually then does work because he goes off planet.
Yes,
and I think that's the first episode. Then
it's pretty much the first episode. Yes, he goes and retrieves the two lightsabers. Is what he goes and does from a.
And that's a point that struck me somehow, where there's no significant landmark, and he's not using any digital device that is seen on. How the hell did he find that spot?
It's all in the Force.
Well, let's move on.
Yes. So then that was an hour episode actually, which I thought was quite interesting to see that it was, that it was the full hour. Where the second episode is actually only 40 odd minutes.
Yeah.
We did miss something from the first episode as well. Is before the first episode even starts, there was a big 6-minute recap.
Oh yeah, there was of
the prequel movies.
Indeed, there. Basically, if you haven't seen the first 3 Star Wars movies, that's all of it condensed very much.
Yep. So the planet that they've taken Leia on, which we get the name in it, it's a planet called Dayu, which looked a little bit. I would say it reminds me of things we've seen on screen before is probably Coruscant.
Yeah, I thought it was Coruscant as well.
But in literature and stuff, it's probably a little bit more closer to Nar Shaddaa, the smugglers' moons and stuff like that. So very much of that ilk of bright lights.
It's a planet you don't really want to be there, and you get to get a feeling about that planet when Obi-Wan arrives there and his tracking device stops working, and somebody at the port tells him, everything is blocked here. Nobody wants to know who's coming or going.
It's pretty much they pride their secrecy, almost their privacy.
Yeah, it's a pirate port, for lack of a better term.
And then as he's walking through the streets, we get a cameo.
Oh god, that completely took me by surprise. There's an arm reaching out from the bottom, waving a clone trooper helmet, going, "Spare some credits for a veteran."
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it is Tamura Morrison in a big beard,
but he's not being credited.
It's not credited, and it's also not Rex. So, or any of them. That was the rumor that.
Well, I guess if it had been Rex, he would have recognized Obi-Wan Kenobi, so that would have been a terrible idea.
Yeah, or Cody. But we think we're probably going to see Cody as part of the Vader's.
Also, what I thought, if Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi were very prominent generals in the Galactic Republic, how did this clone trooper not recognize one of the most famous Jedi and not instantly go berserk on Order 66?
Maybe the chip had been removed. I mean, we can speculate on.
Yeah, but that was one point that annoyed me slightly. But then again, it could just be that he has drunken himself so down that he can't really see anymore, and most bearded people look the same at some point.
I think it could be also to do with the fact that the order and the chip might have a specific lifespan, and after the order was initiated, maybe the chip goes, we don't know.
Could be anything. It might be just a slip for the writers as well. So let's. Yeah. After that, he goes on and asks around to find a girl. And the girl he's talking to just says, "Yeah, I was once lost too. You're never going to find her here. This is the first drug she drops into his code."
Oh, yes.
Take more of these and you'll forget her.
Exactly. That girl or that actress is Ewan McGregor's daughter. It's Ewan's daughter. Was the girl that gave him the spice that he encounters. Then he encounters someone that says he knows a Jedi.
Yeah, a little boy, and then he takes him to someone
someone who may be a Jedi.
Yeah,
it's Kamul Najani's
don't try to pronounce that name.
Yeah, his I won't try to pronounce his name, but yes, it's him, and as Kenobi's watching, he comes in with a woman and with a child, pretends,
waves his hands, closes some latches,
hands, and all of that type of thing.
Then somehow the communicator jumps into his hands, and he does a very theatrical, "I'm in your head now, Portmaster, and I will send you to persons, and you will let them go," and yada yada yada.
Yeah, all very theatrically pushed up and
very bad acted on purpose.
Yes. And he basically gets some credits from them to hopefully protecting them or saving their force sensitive child if he is. But then Kenobi comes out, and basically says it's bullshit. Pretty much magnets and
sensors.
Yes, and
but he never reveals himself as a Jedi. He uses a blaster and just common sense. So there's no way that guy could actually know that he is a Jedi.
It's basically Kenobi's showing where to go to get, or told where to go to maybe find the girl, through what looks like a spice mixing area, possibly.
Yeah, it's some kind of the front is basically an entertainment discotheque, bar, whatever you want to call it, and at the side entrance you'll get a drug kitchen.
Yeah, so it's and he encounters some, shall we say, some people there, and then takes those out, I'm going to say, quite easily.
Yeah, he gets in there, disguises himself with one who just left the building, and then makes one bottle go pop, and everything is, "Oh no, what's this?" And then he takes the key from the guard and just goes on into the backstage area with the holding cells.
And as he does that, we cut to a scene of Flea and his minions speaking to a hologram, and we find out that it was actually the third sister who had the child kidnapped to lure Kenobi out.
Yeah, and
because they knew of the relationship between Kenobi and
I
Bail.
think that we even have that way before then. I think that's a scene we see before he actually enters the building, if I remember correctly. And soon after he is in the holding cell areas, there are some goons attacking him, and he's just fighting like a normal person to be very unprecise, and he's bad at it. He's really hurting himself, and he seems to be very surprised that fighting is hard.
It's also what happens, of course, is he gets into the area where he thinks Leia is, and pulls off a hood of what he thinks is the girl.
It is just
a cell,
beat up droid,
just a droid or whatever with stuff, and that's when he's captured, and that's when he, after the sort of that fighting thing against those other hunters and stuff, as he takes the spice and throws it to the ground.
Yeah, and firstly, Flea comes in with his two companions, going,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't believe you're so stupid and fell for this."
Yeah, and then throws the thing on the ground, and then
takes on the respirator mask he had from the guy that was disguised in the drug laboratory.
Yeah, so he does all that while the others three are basically having the effects of space. He then finds Leia, who doesn't believe who he is, or doesn't want to go with him because she smacks him with a chair or whatever it is.
Yeah, he enters the room and she's standing next to the door and just whacking him.
And then she asks why you should trust him, and he does the whole thing about your father sent me, and then they exit what's called the sewers, but I don't think it was the sewers, but it could have been. And then they basically go onto the streets. They get some clothing. While he gets her to some clothing, while the Inquisitor demands to know, as we cut back to the criminals being affected by the spice, when the third sister comes up wanting to know where Kenobi is.
And they just can't say anything.
Yeah. Leia then cuts back to sort of Leia recognizing that he's a Jedi, possibly because of the lightsaber that he has on his hilt that he brought with him. And then
which is the second thing I found very peculiarly annoying, because he knows that this is a dead giveaway for anybody looking for a Jedi. So why carry it out in the open? Why not hide it somewhere?
Yeah. So it's we get that sort of thing, and meanwhile the Grand Inquisitor's turned up on the planet with the fifth brother and the fourth sister, which is a new Inquisitor that we've never met before. I don't know what race she is, but we see her in the trailer. And they are basically there to now, to basically find, because she's kidnapped a senator's daughter.
Yeah, they're not amused.
She's not happy at all. Yeah. Reva, whereas as she's being dress bound by the Grand Inquisitor, Reva counters that they've done much worse, and it's like, prompting a protest from the fifth brother. She tells fellow Inquisitors that she found a link between Kenobi and Organa in the archives, and that she sent Leia bait him out. The Grand Inquisitors, of course, is furious with Reva disobeying his orders, and pretty much by the sounds of it, is if she ends up back at the Inquisitorum, it's got a specific name. It's the thing from Jedi Fallen Order, the Inquisitor's sort of palace area. That it sounds like she's, shall we say, going to be questioned.
She'll have some instruments turned to her.
Yes. Yeah, so we have basically we've got this dynamic between the Inquisitors, and I tell you what it reminds me of a bit is because she's trying to curry favor, I think, with Vader. It sounds that's why I think she's doing it. There's more to it than that, but I think some of it is trying to curry favor with Vader.
At one point, she also mentioned that Vader is going to be very pleased with her giving information about Obi-Wan's
Kenobi.
whereabouts because he had been hunting him for so long.
So it's very much, it seems like she's trying to curry favor with him, which denotes the fact that you've got this dynamic of conflict, which reminds me a little bit of the Ruler 2.
Yeah, which seems a bit odd given that the Grand Inquisitor actually seems to be a very calm person, and the other Inquisitors seem to fall in line behind him.
Yeah, it's very much Rule of 2 in its feeling of manic fervor, shall we say? Reva basically Reva tells her to stand. Reva's been taught to stand down, and she parts off. However, she defines the Grand Inquisitor again by pretty much telling the entire city that Kenobi's there and they're willing to pay money, and the Grand Inquisitor, of course, finds out and
she
is not a happy man.
She contacts again the Three Stooges, I almost said, and said, just give it out to everyone on the planet. And I don't think they can handle him. No, they don't need to handle him. They just need to put pressure on him.
Yeah. So as they are, Kenobi and Leia are trying to get away.
All of a sudden, all the scum and villainy on that planet is having a short message getting, this is the face we want. Go get him. Reward.
Yeah, and one of those people we cut to is the fake Jedi.
His youngling apprentice, who then goes with the news to his Jedi master, going, "Look, we had him. We could have had this money."
Yes, and then we get the obligatory, though them basically everybody's searching for Kenobi and stuff like that. We get the Flea's character brought in front of the High Inquisitor. And that's the scene we get from the trailer with the spinning blade.
Yeah,
as the guy's being pulled, and then it cuts away
judging
to
by the sound, he's going to get chopped into pieces.
Yes, he gets chopped into pieces. We get some stuff with Kenobi and Leia thinking about her droid, and and Kenobi, reassures her that he let her parents know and they'll be home by nightfall. Leia tells Kenobi that he can't just call her Leia, which is interesting.
And also they have a encounter with one of the bounty hunters, and when his arm alarm goes off again, it shows the hologram of Obi-Wan being
she runs away.
Which I didn't quite understand, but then again,
children.
Yeah, especially 10-year-olds.
Yeah, children. So this alarm goes off, and then Leia. This is where we get the second sort of chase of a grown-ass adult,
and where the droid that isn't Forloom is actually shooting at him.
No, it's not. It's a droid called One Jack, JAC.
Yeah, but he looks pretty similar.
Oh yeah, definitely similar sort of thing. And also we get a reptilian bounty hunter as well. So we get a chase across the rooftops where we get the scene from the trailer with Kenobi shooting at them. Being shot at and shot back, and Reva sees this because she's gone up on high, and this is where we get Reva basically doing some parkour, trying to get to Kenobi.
At that point, I was okay. I get she's sensitive to the Force, but do we need to drive that home every time by using the most super fluid fucking parkour?
and then we get the thing of which. He basically shows his powers where Leia's basically running to get away from him.
She still tries to run away from it and drops.
Yeah, does the whole the thing is too wide for her to jump, so he jumps, grabs a piece of rope or something, and then basically lets go and goes to fall where Kenobi reaches out with the Force and holds her, and then Leia sends her to the ground. Sort of calmly, shall we say?
Yeah, he seems to struggle greatly in controlling the Force.
I've got a suspicion this is what they were saying within some of the information that was sort of mentioned from interviews, that they would investigate this broken man, because he's been hidden for so much and hasn't used the Force. His ability to use the Force is diminished, as he's kept himself hidden for 10 years, not doing, not using.
And maybe
it's like I guess a little bit like a muscle.
Maybe he's also gone the route as many other Star Wars characters have, and he has cut himself from the Force in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Though even not maybe completely, but just going, yeah, I'm going to dial this back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then we get a the thing with the spinning lightsaber is actually at this part where he's brought into, where the Grand Inquisitor's interrogating him, because Kenobi gets away pretty much, and goes down to Leia after shooting the droid and the reptilian or the crocodile looking bounty hunter.
He shoots the crocodile one that dropped from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And the one Jack, or what's it called, is still firing at him.
And then he shoots him as well.
Yeah.
No, the two are surprised by one Jack who shoots the droid. So it's actually, what's his face? The fake Jedi is the one that shoots the droid.
Yeah.
Because Kenobi comes down, he's still being shooten to get to Leia, and then the droid turns up and gets shot from behind.
I think we scrambled up a bit here. So Leia lands safely down.
Yeah.
Kenobi gets down to her. They run towards the space station, the spaceport, and then they see the spaceport is on full lockdown, and behind them comes up this bounty hunter droid.
The droid,
and that then gets killed by the fake Jedi.
Yeah, gets killed by Hija, as is his name. I'm just reading here, and they're thinking he's hunting him down, but he says, "No, I'm going to help you." Do I do bad things? Yes.
Yeah,
I do money.
He basically uses this situation as a means to redeem himself of sorts.
Of sorts, yeah.
And gives them the coordinates and passage to an automated spaceport that's just for goods and transports.
And then that's when we get the scene with the Inquisitor basically trying to find out where
the third sister
going.
Meets him. He does again a very theatrical going, "Oh, you caught me, I'm the Jedi," and she just slams him in the door and says, "You
and she goes, "You're no Jedi."
but then she pulls from his mind the whereabouts of Leia and Ben Kenobi and follows them.
So in this automated area or whatever it is, they're heading to the cargo pod, and that's when the sister comes and basically starts taunting Kenobi.
Yeah, we have pretty much a longer version of the hunt from Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker on the Death Star in
like that,
Return of the Jedi. She's talking and taunting him, and at some point she's referring to Darth Vader, and at that point Obi-Wan just goes, "What? He's alive?" And that's the third thing that kind of annoyed me a bit.
Because nobody's supposed to know who Vader is.
Yeah, but it felt like he has been not even knowing who's Vader. Or that Vader actually exists. It just felt, weird.
If it not necessarily, because I think it is the way they've set it up, and I think it was mentioned in some of the books as well, of the fact that Vader was rumored myth. Is a little bit of a myth. Not many people had seen Vader,
or seen him and lived to tell
the tale. to tell the tale, pretty much. So maybe not many. And you've got to remember, as the Outer Rim, and this is what this is something I played on in my when I ran Star Wars for my D&D group. One of the things I played on was the myth of Vader, because they were in the Outer Rim, so they wouldn't have seen Vader, wouldn't have possibly necessarily traveled. The same with the Jedi. Even though I set my game during the Mandalorian time period, there was still these rumblings and whispers and rumors about things that might not have existed, because what people are like with superstition.
Yeah, and
so
the universe
maybe
is
it's
very large.
Yeah, and it's and you've got to remember as well, as Vader would have possibly been more kept himself to the core systems, the central, the where the seat of power for the Emperor is strongest, because it's not very strong on the Outer Rim, where Coruscant and Corellia and those places, those big industrial,
Well, it's strong enough that the Inquisitors stay unopposed when they just drop in and kill people.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of conversation thing of what's going on, you know, with it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the taunting of Kenobi, because during that time as well as he gives Leia the key to go to the cargo shuttle to get away,
Yeah.
and tells her, "I'll be there," you know,
I'll be
and
right behind you.
I'll be
Famous
right
last
behind
words.
you. Yeah, and that's when, you know, basically the third sister taunts him and then mentions adds that Anakin Skywalker's alive. She boasts delivering, you know, offering
Yeah.
bring the carpet down. She adds, you know, that Anakin Skywalker is alive. Now, in the wording of that, is it that she says Anakin Skywalker is Vader, or is it more she just says Anakin's alive? I've got a
Hard to
suspicion.
tell.
I'd have to rewatch it. I haven't watched it again yet. Is the wording, I'm wondering, where it's just mentioned that maybe Anakin and Vader are two separate people in his mind.
Could be. But
You know?
the thing is, she keeps talking and talking and taunting him, and all of a sudden the Grand Inquisitor is there.
Mm-hmm. And he says, "I'll do this, and I'll show you."
Yeah, and you'll go back to base, and we will deal with you later. And
yeah, basically he's had enough of insubordination, and basically as he's about to do things, she turns around and stabs him through the torso with her lightsaber.
Yeah, it just goes, "Don't think I let you have this one."
Yeah, she gloats over the wounded superior. Kenobi gets away, and that's where she basically yells up that we get in the trailer, vows that the Emperor will find him. And then in the shuttle, as it goes off, Kenobi senses a disturbance in the Force. He shows some distress. Leia sees the distress, and that's where we get the final scene of Vader waking up in a Bacta tank.
Yeah, pretty much just some unrecognizable lump of flesh. And I think if they hadn't added the very noticeable respirator sound, you wouldn't have thought of Vader in the first place.
Now, before we do a general sort of what we thought is, do you think the Inquisitor's dead? If so, doesn't that affect? If so, from my point of view, that seriously screws up Rebels.
The Grand Inquisitor?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question.
Because if he is dead, they've completely messed up the ending of Rebels first season.
Well, let me put it this way. That wouldn't be the first character that got a shot to the belly and survive.
I think he's alive. I do think he's alive, because I can't see them, especially with the story group there, and Dave Filoni being part of the, you know, the Dave and John being part of that TV arc, because I think Kenobi's all part within that, you know, that Disney Plus, even though it's not in the Mandoverse, it's still part of that Disney Plus family.
Unless he has a twin brother of sorts, I think we will see him again.
It could have been the same alien race. That was always the you know, the guard, because what you got to remember is the history of the Grand Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor was a Jedi. He's one of the guards, you know, in the season 5 end with the Ahsoka trial, and she has those Jedi guards around her, the ones with the mask. That's one of the Inquisitor. The Grand Inquisitor is one of them. So we get to see,
there could be potentially more of the same.
Could be the same race, but I think he's taken a blade to the chest, so he's alive. He's still alive, you know. He's taken it through the thing. Yeah. And I also
given the fact that Darth Vader is still alive after being burned to a crisp and almost decapitated.
And also the other thing as well, which I think we've seen in the trailers, I think there'll be repercussions for Reva on the Inquisitor's home planet. Because we get a scene of us standing there thinking on a lightsaber when a bunch of stormtroopers and purge troopers, because we get to see some purge troopers in armor in this as well.
So what's your verdict on this?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was a good, solid opening. There was some nice story choices. There were some things I didn't think they would do. So, you know, getting them off planet, I think, was the hardest thing, and I think they did it well. Because you couldn't have done 6 episodes on Tatooine again. How many more deserts? How much?
It wouldn't have been good episodes.
Exactly. How much more desert planet can we see? You know, I think it was an interesting thing to use Leia and not Luke.
That definitely was a surprise.
I know there's people bumping up on canon of the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. But if you look in this, she's only ever heard him called Ben. She's never heard him called Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and let's face it, she's a 10-year-old child.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I know from first-hand experience, children tend to forget certain things more quickly than adults. So, and they also remember other things long.
I am interested, especially one of the things that we missed was him trying to communicate with Qui-Gon at the very beginning of the first episode.
Well, I wouldn't call that trying to communicate. It was more a shouting into the void.
Yeah.
Because he didn't meditate, he didn't do anything. No. He just sat up in bed and goes, "Oh, Master, I could really need some help here now."
Guidance, yeah. But I think that leads into one of the rumblings and rumors that's been going around that we will see eventually. We will see, probably at the end, a Force Ghost of Qui-Gon.
Could be. I also think there will be some kind of major Force event coming.
Well,
because he's still not at the peak of his power currently, so there needs to be something done about that.
I suspect I know from what's been said, and people have, and I think it's open knowledge, is we get 2 encounters with Vader.
Well, at least one.
We're getting at least one, but I think there's 2. There's a fight with Vader where Kenobi loses and barely escapes, and then there's a one possibly someone said at the end that I read, where there's a fight with Vader where Kenobi, basically the whole, the line Vader says, when we last met,
you were the master, I was the apprentice.
Yeah, that type of thing, where this will be that encounter that they mention.
Yeah, and that needs to be after when Obi-Wan has reconnected himself with the Force again.
Yeah, and I think
because he needs to be on the top of his game.
Oh yeah, that's why I think if there's 2 encounters, which they've said, the first encounter will be the one that probably jars him into thinking, I'm not ready, I need to get myself ready, type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
A very nice transition to him having to meditate again and getting one with the Force, and then having an interaction with Qui-Gon.
But on the whole, yeah, great. I thought it was great. I really did. I loved it. It's a very strong Star Wars show.
I'm still a bit on, not the edge, but undecided. Let's put it that way. I didn't think it was bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
Aside from the 3 things I pointed out during our podcast, but those are minor gripes.
Just some things you bumped up against, yeah.
Yeah, there's... I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I feel there's something missing. And I couldn't really tell you what, or maybe it's just because last time we saw him, he was a powerful Jedi, and all of a sudden he's that broken man that has seemingly lost all hope regarding getting anything back into order again.
But that could be just part of the whole arc of the character, isn't it?
Indeed, because I wasn't expecting him to be so down and depressed and just depressed is the word potentially.
It's PTSD, isn't it? Really?
It's all in this. The fighting's done. We lost. Full stop. End of story. Nothing more.
Yeah. So I guess I can see that. I mean, I agree with that. The thing, but I mean,
it's a believable character, but it's way the other way around that I would have initially expected him to be. I was still somehow thinking there would be this knight in shining armor, staying vigilantly watching over little Luke, not being this run-down hobo living in a cave, and he literally lives in a cave, not in a house like in episode 4.
Yeah.
So he still needs to get his hair grey,
and he still needs
to get some good housing.
Yes, he still needs to find his Jedi bungalow. his housing things. But no, I'm interested to see where they're going. I know we're now getting episode 3 this week coming, which should be interesting. That'll be Wednesday, and then then we're basically halfway. If you think about it, well, it's only 6 episodes. They've said it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, and I don't think there will be many more.
I don't think we're going to get any more. I know one of the things from Celebration that hasn't been announced and it's got some people going, is a season 2 with Book of Boba, but I think we're still too close because they're busy in production of Ahsoka and and Mando.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of Book of Boba Fett being continued before 2024.
Yeah, and I wouldn't see Book of Boba Fett actually being announced until after the Mandalorian's season 3's aired. And I also think Tamora Morrison will turn up in Ahsoka as Rex.
Oh, I think we will see a clone trooper of this certain description in upcoming events every time again.
Yeah, I think we'll see him as Rex, and I think we'll also see him in this as Cody. I think we might see Cody,
And potentially we could see him in Andor as well, because that's also still pretty much early on.
Quick one before we head off is, you've seen the Andor trailer, yeah?
Yes.
Did you see the scene where you've got those what we think are stormtroopers running to the guy running towards them?
Yeah, they are clone trooper helmets.
Yes.
It's, Gen 2, I think, is it?
Yes, they're Gen 2 clones.
Yeah, I've recognized that, and for some odd reason, I got that mixed up for Obi-Wan, and I was, why are these not those? Oh, yeah, that's not Obi-Wan, that's the Andor trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gen 2 clones.
Or at least the armament. Mm-hmm. I think, if I remember correctly, in Bad Batch, the conscripts also wore those armors.
Yes, some of the conscripts that were being trained by the clone commandos.
Yeah, so there could be conscripts, there could be clones, or a mixture of both.
Mm-hmm. But, we've talked for 90 minutes, we've rambled.
It's a interesting start. It has potential to still go up, and even if some people are annoyed by how that's going, and that it's basically just a reiteration of famous guy brings home missing kid, even though I don't think that will be the story arc for the rest of the season.
No.
Yeah, it's an interesting watch, and let's see if the later episodes will improve, and maybe when there's more interaction between characters and not just introducing that old fart Kenobi.
Well, we know that Hayden's in the armor, so
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting details, and
yes.
Oh, and
we do know we're going to get to see the Man in Black turn up, so
And have you seen the very short cameo on Alderaan at the political meeting?
No, did I miss somebody?
Yeah, you missed somebody.
Who did I miss?
3PO. And I'm not talking about the one that is serving the drinks. Just seconds before, for I think about 2 seconds, there's C-3PO in the background translating.
Right. I wasn't paying any attention, and I should have.
At that, it was him. I'm pretty sure we also heard Anthony Daniels' voice at that moment.
Probably.
So the only one that was missing was R2-D2. So looking forward when he will arrive on set somewhere, because I think they both stayed with.
Yes, they do. They both stay with Captain Antilles.
Yeah, so potentially we will see R2-D2 in this episode when Obi-Wan brings back Leia, which would be nice.
Definitely.
Which would make R2-D2 the most shown character in any series.
And C-3PO actually as well.
I think R2 has more scenes because R2 is also showing up in The Mandalorian.
I was going to say, is R2 now it was Tony Daniels was in every single movie.
Yeah, in every single movie, but R2 is in every single movie and TV series.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I was still working out was R2 in because he was in
he
all
flew
9
the,
as
the
well.
X-Wing that brought back Grogu to Din Djarin.
And he brought back and he was in last episode of season 2. He was in 2 episodes of Book of Boba. Yeah, he's been probably more screen time than CP3, definitely.
After all, that's the Emperor.
I was going to say, well, no, I was thinking more the fact is that would just kill Tony Daniels. Because I know for a fact, and we got this, I got this from Kenny Baker, that the two of them didn't get on well.
Well, let's face
Tony
it,
Daniels and
even if Anthony
Kenny
Daniels
Baker
would be in every movie and series that is made during his lifetime, at the point he dies, they still can roll up the remote controlled R2 on screen.
True, yes, they can. And they can also synthesize your voice, as we know, with what they did with Luke. So, you know.
Yeah, there's...
And probably what they might have to do with James Earl Jones, but I've got a suspicion I think James Earl Jones recorded stuff for Kenobi, so we'll see.
Oh, I hope so. I love his voice.
Yeah.
But as you said, we've rambled on for 90 plus minutes now.
Yep.
I still have to cut and record this, or render this. Ralph,
I'd also watched the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer.
Oh, that has been looping once in the background. I think I need to watch that as on a frame-by-frame basis at one point and see what I can make out. It looks interesting. We will be back again next Sunday, unless the world has ended by then, and then we'll be talking about the Book of Boba Fett, Season 1, Episode 3.
No, not the Book of Boba Fett, you mean
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Bloody hell. See, it's 10 p.m. here. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, we'll also have a brief on the Bad Batch Season 2 trailer, what we thought about it beforehand, I think.
Yes, we will.
As well.
With that said, see you a lot again next Sunday. Have a nice week and stay healthy.